Okay, how is my voice? Is it clear? Is it loud enough for everyone?
Yes, sir. Yeah, yeah, yes, sir.
Okay, let's start the session. Okay, guys, so it's going to be a SAP class first today, right? So we're going to learn today SAP ABAP. So let me first start from the basics. Let me give you some overview about what is this course and how this is going to be useful, and so whether we can get it jobs or not. And especially I'm getting a lot of questions like, freshers, can we join this course? Recently passed out, I did MBA, I did MCA, MSc. So we're getting a plenty of questions on this. So whether we can join this class, do we get a jobs and all this stuff. So let me give one particular answer for all these questions, not only for SAP ABAP, for any course in this matter. Let it be Java, Oracle, or you can say .NET. You take any course in the market, okay, it doesn't require a specialization in your education. For example, the companies are not looking for only BTech. The company says that any graduate. So I used to say that in 2000 or 1998, I used to when I was started looking for jobs, when we used to buy the newspapers every Wednesday and I think every Tuesday and Thursday in Hyderabad, we get appointments. At the time, we don't have Naukri.coms, we don't have like these many now what do you call job consultancies. So we used to search the jobs in the newspapers and to apply, sending like through the mail, through the post. We used to do like that. So at the time, I used to see that it's only for BTech. But the case now, it's completely situation changed. So education, any graduate. Okay. So that's what we need to do it. Guys, can you please stop it rather than writing this? So here. Okay, don't write anything. Okay, so now we need to know only one thing is we don't need to worry about what like in education levels we need to have and whether we get a job or not. Okay, come back to this SAP. What is this SAP? How we can get a job in this SAP? SAP is going to be one of the ERP leader in the world. It's a huge number of customers, and SAP is going to release new modules or updating their modules. I'm going to talk about each and everything. Don't worry, we're going to start from the basics. Though you have a knowledge in IT or computers, or you don't have any knowledge in IT or computers, it doesn't matter. We're going to start everything from the scratch. So SAP is a ERP leader. They have almost like a 50 plus modules, and it's every manufacturing company required SAP software. They need a what do you call it? Employees, right? It's like a widely spreaded across the market in US and UK and India. They need plenty of employees. Okay, that is the answer. The other question is going to be, so do we need to have any experience on this one? There are plenty of companies like a top game companies, MNC companies, Infosys, TCS, like Cognizant, Capgemini. All these people are also looking for freshers. Those people who already trained, they need a people who already trained into the particular technology. Let's say SAP ABAP, SAP HANA, SAP BW. So if you have a knowledge and you already trained into that one, they're going to take it to you as a fresher. We call it's like income. So they're going to pay you a less salary comparing with experienced people, but it's going to be evergreen job in the market. SAP. That you need to keep in mind. It's evergreen. Like once you get into the SAP job field, then it's kind of like your life is settled. It's kind of a government job. As long as you keep working, it will be there. There won't be any outdated or some kind of something like that. Okay. So that's all about the jobs and information and experience related information and education qualification. Education qualification, I would like to repeat once again. Any graduate, please do not come back and ask me I'm a BSc computers, I'm a M.Com graduate. So any graduate in the sense, any degree. Okay. Let's come to SAP ABAP. So what is this ABAP and how it is going to help us to get a job especially, right? So let's start talking about this one. SAP is nothing but system application products in processing. Okay. Systems, applications, products in processing. So we call it is going to be SAP. SAP is nothing but it is a company, just like Microsoft. This company designed ERP. Now the question is, what is an ERP? ERP is going to be enterprise, okay, resource planning. We're going to talk about this. What is enterprise resource planning? E stands for enterprise, R stands for resource, P stands for plan. Right? Enterprise in the sense what? What is enterprise? Synonyms for this. Enterprise is nothing but company, or we can also call business. And what are the resources? Resources are nothing but it's going to be anything. It might be a human resource, it might be IT resource, it might be infrastructure. So all these things falls under resources. Then planning. What is a planning? A planning is nothing but how effectively you're going to utilize these resources in your company or business. That is called planning. That's called, we are going to use these resources in your enterprise with the proper plan. That's going to be how effectively you're going to utilize. That's going to be planning. For example, let's say I'm going to start, let me give an example to you. For example, I'm going to start a bank. Okay. If I want to start a bank, let's say I want to start, for example, ICICI Bank. What do I need if I want to start a bank? Anyone? I just want to start a business, a bank business. So what do I need first to start this? You guys can be interactive. I can open your mics and you can answer. Can anyone tell me what is the first thing I need? Is your mics are open, working? Guys? Yeah. Who's going to answer? What do I need first? Okay. Money. Okay. What is the second one? What is the next step? I need to have office, right? Then I need to have what? Infrastructure. What is the infrastructure? Infrastructure is going to be the computers and I can say that office tables, chairs, everything. Okay. Then what else I need? I need human resources like people. What are the peoples? Bank manager and bank cashier, and I need like a sales people, right? So this is the human resources. Then what? I need a plan. What is a plan? I'm going to start the bank on 1st August 2021. By next year 2022, I need to like sell around 100, I can say insurance. I need to sell 200 credit cards. I need to sell 1000 home loans. This is a plan. So now if I want to execute this plan, what I need to do? I need to utilize my resources, infrastructure and the human resources. How effectively I'm going to utilize my resources, that is going to be the plan. I'll say, I'll assign some work to the salespeople. I will assign some work to the cashier. I will assign some work to the manager. This is a how, like, the every company works. Okay. Now you can understand, like, you can get a doubt here. What is the relation in between this ERP and this SAP? Okay. So let's talk about little more clarity on this one. So one thing you need to understand that we clearly said that SAP is a company. They build or they design ERP package. What is a ERP package? ERP package is nothing but, let's say for example, I have an Apple company. What this Apple company will do? This Apple company manufactures the products. What kind of products they manufacture? For example, let's say iPhone. They manufacture iPhones, they manufacture the computers, Mac, and they manufacture like iPad, and I can say that, we have this earbuds also, right? Okay. So AirPods and all this stuff. Okay. So to do a manufacturing these things, what they required? They required, first of all, raw material. Then they need to purchase these raw materials. From where they purchase these raw materials? They purchase these raw materials from vendors. Okay. This is going to be raw material. Okay. Then what? After purchasing. After purchasing, they manufacture it. Okay, if they want to manufacture it, first of all, they need to store these raw materials, right? After purchasing these raw materials, they need to store in the warehouse. Nothing but godowns. If you want to talk about, like, general layman language. They start manufacturing this thing. If they want to start manufacturing, they need a place, right? That is nothing but plant, or you can also call factory, right? Okay. Then after manufacturing, what they will do that they start selling. Okay, they will sell to whom? They will sell to customers. This is a typical business process for any kind of manufacturing company. Okay, now let's understand this clearly. So to purchase these raw materials, they need to contact to the vendors. Who is this vendors? A vendor is nothing but who sell raw materials. For example, let's say, what are the raw materials required to manufacture a phone? I need a phone case. I need a phone screen. I need speakers. I need a chip, motherboard, and I need I can say storage space, like a hard disk inside that, right? A small storage area. Then what else I need? Memory cards and all this stuff, right? So these kind of all these information, all these pieces of I can say materials, they're going to sell. That guy is called vendor. One person will sell screens, the other person will sell the cables, charger. Then I can say that camera, lenses, microphones, speakers, every it's not like all these items are available from one person. They are purchasing from the various sources. So these people called vendors who sell the raw materials. So what will do? Apple company purchase this raw material from the vendors. After purchasing, they need to store that. What happens after purchasing? These vendors will start shipping the products to the Apple company. So the Apple company is going to store all these raw materials in the warehouse, right? It's a storage area. So that's going to be warehouse. So warehouse is nothing but what? All the materials they're going to store into the one place, one building. Okay, we're going to say that it is going to be material management. I need to know, right, how many products I'm receiving, how much stock I'm receiving. That is called material management. We call it is a SAP ML, right? And purchasing all the stuff is going to be processed under sales and distribution, right? That's going to be sales and distribution. We also call SD, SAP SD. Then what happens? Selling to the customers. That also falls in the sales and distribution. Customers, we are the customer. I purchased an iPhone, so I'm a customer to them. They need to store my details, right? So we call it's going to be CRM, Customer Relationship Management System. They store this information. What is this manufacturing? They manufacture the products in the factory, right? So we call it as a PP. Okay, production planning. SAP PP, SAP CRM, SAP Material Management, SAP Sales and Distributions. Okay, then what else we have? So we have like, all these modules. This is how, each and every company required a software, every business unit. For example, let's say we have a sales people in my company. They need to store all the sales related information. We need one software. That software is called sales and distribution. And we have a material management. All this material related information, we need to store and manage that information. That is called material management. Then we have a warehouse management. Okay, warehouse management. Then we have a factory, right? Then factory, we manufacture these products, like how many products we manufacturing for per shift. We need to do all the planning and everything, right? Production planning, how quality we are manufacturing, all this stuff. We need to track that information, right? That's going to be production planning. Then quality system, quality management also is there. Like this, SAP has created different softwares. So all these softwares, what do we call in technical word? In technical word, we call it a module. We also call it as SAP modules. SAP module. SAP has almost like 50 plus modules they created. Okay. So then all these things, like, do we need to purchase one by one software, or we can purchase all of them into one package? We can purchase all this into one package. That package is called ERP. ERP is not a one single software. ERP is a group of softwares. Okay, the group of software is called ERP. ERP is a package. You have a lot of options. Okay, so in that options, you can use, for example, let's say, very simple guys, if you understand properly, MS Office. The name is MS Office, but is it a one single software? No. MS Office contains Word. It's one software, and it contains PowerPoint, right? It contains Excel. What else? It contains Excel, PowerPoint, Outlook also. Okay, it contains OneNote. Lot of things, right? See, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We can also call it as tools. We can also call it as a module. Different synonyms, but meaning is same. So all these softwares, okay, we call it is a one group. That group is called MS Office. That particular group is called MS Office. Okay, that's the reason we call this a package. ERP is nothing but a package, just like MS Office. So we cannot purchase into one single package into the ERP. We need to purchase some complete ERP. Okay. So now, is it clear for everyone? What is an ERP now? Okay. So now let's come back to this. What exactly we can do with the ERP? Okay. If you understand this properly, for example, let's say in an ERP, okay, I have sales and distribution, I have a material management, I have a human resource HR management, I have a production planning, okay. Then what else I have? I have a quality management, and I can say I have a supply chain management, I have a customer relationship management. This is not part of ERP, but I'm just giving you an example. Okay, let me remove this one. For example, let's say these are the branches we have or modules we have in one particular package called ERP. If there is any sales happen in the company, these guys are going to create a sales order. Okay, where is the sales order is going to get stored? We need to have one place to store all this data. That is called database, right? So they'll create a one sales order or purchase order, anything. They're going to store this information in the database. Material management, if they get new stock, they're going to add this stock. Where that information is going to store? Into one place. HR relationship, any new employee joins in the company, they're going to store this information. Production planning, how many products they're manufacturing, they're going to store into one place. That's going to be database. Quality management, how many quality products we have, like manufactured. Supply chain management, order to cash and all this stuff. So they're going to store all this information into one single place, that is called centralized enterprise management system. Centralized enterprise management system, nothing but ERP. What does it mean? It means one database, all the data getting stored into one database. That database is also called S4 HANA. HANA is nothing but a database where you can get store the data. This is also be called back-end system. Back-end system. Back-end system in the sense where the data gets stored. That is called back-end system. Right? Okay. Why they're storing into one place? Why they're not storing into like in each module one database? They can also create like this, right? What is the purpose of that? They're creating one single database, storing or dumping all the data into one place. The main reason is if I want to find out how many products I'm selling, okay, I need to know how many products I have. There is an interconnectivity in between selling and the materials, right? If I have the materials only, I can connect to that selling part also. How many sales I can make it. So it's interconnected with each other. For example, I can say that I want to manufacture 50 products. Then how many employees you need? I need like 10 people. Then production planning is interlinked with HR. So there connectivity in between the these the departments. We can also call it as a departments, right? For example, let's say that the sales department, for example, iPhones. Apple introduced iPhone 13, for example, in 2022. Then what happens? A retailer is nothing but Sangeet Mobiles. We have a lot of retailers, right? Okay. The big C Sangeet Mobiles, they're going to call to the Apple distribution. They'll say that, sir, I need 1,000 Apple phones. Okay. Then what the sales and distribution people will do? Hey, hang on 1 second, that we're going to check whether we have a stock or not. What they're going to do? They're going to immediately contact the material management people. Hey, we got an order of 1,000 phones. Do you have a stock available? Okay, so material management is going to do what? They're going to check that whether they have a stock or not. If there is no stock available, then they're going to intimate to the sales and distribution, no stock available, but we're going to manufacture in 5 days. Then what they will do? They're going to contact the production planning people. Hey, we got a 1,000 order, please start manufacturing it. So there is an interconnectivity with each department, right? Without the connecting or discussing with each department, they cannot start the business. The business cannot be run successful. Every business, all the departments need to start, communicate and work together. Then only any business can run successfully, right? So that's the reason they're storing all the data into one place. Okay, now let's say that this for sales and distribution company, they received 1,000 sales order. The another big C company, they said that we need 5,000 phones. Okay, then Reliance Mobile Phone, they contacted them, they said that we need 10,000 mobiles. Every retailer calling them iPhone company, they're ordering that new phones, right? Okay, that is August month. Okay, so now this company, iPhone, Apple company, they want to find out how many phones they sold, okay, in August. They need a report. How many mobile phones they sold in the month of August? They need a report, right? They want to find out, like, how many materials we purchased from January to August. How many materials we purchased? And I need to know what is the balance stock also. How much stock is left? So they need 1, 2, 3 detailed information. One, they want to know how many products they sold. Second one, they want to know how many materials we purchased. The third one, they want to know how much stock is left. So what we call these requests we call reports. So how do I produce, to whom they're going to contact to provide this report? The management wants these reports. So if they want, if a company need to get these reports, what they need to do it? They need to do connecting to the database, because all the data is here. Then get the data from out of it and produce or create the reports. Okay? Reports. This is how they will generate the reports. To create these reports, what they need to do is they need to connect to the database. They need to, like, query. Query is nothing but questioning. How many products we sold? That is called a program. They need to write a program in the ERP system. Then based on the program, it is going to generate the report. Okay, so these reports will be generated by a people in employees called SAP ABAPers. We call them ABAPers. What ABAPer can do? ABAPer can create the reports, and what else we can do? What are the what do you call jobs, roles, and responsibility of the ABAPer, right? So if you want to know what is the roles and responsibilities of the ABAPer, then you can say that what is a job, ABAPer job. What they will do? It's very simple. Rice. It's not our rice, like what we eat every day. It's a short form. You can say rice. Okay. What is a rice? R stands for report. I stands for interactive. C stands for conversion. E stands for enhancements. Okay, enhancements. Okay, so what they will do is they'll generate the reports. Okay, then we have one more called forms. Okay, interactive reports they can generate, and you can say conversions and enhancements. They create forms. Okay, let's talk about report. A report is nothing but we have two reports are there. Classic reports, okay, drill down reports. Classic report is nothing but it's one single page, all the information. It's like a kind of standard report. Classic report is nothing but standard report. In one place, one page, you can just simply put everything. For example, let's say I need to know how many students are there. I need a report. Then I can say that student A, student B, student C, D. Very simple, plain report I'm giving. Okay, but what in case if I want to know that a proper design like this? Now it looks good, right? So this is going to be a drill down report, or like I can say some effective report, interactive report, so speaking. What is this? Whenever I click on this A, I need to know what is the student address, what is the student phone number, what is the student email ID. When I click on B, I need to get this information, right? So this is called interactive. If I click on this, it's going to provide. It's going to be drill down kind of reports. So like I'm going to in depth of these information. So all these things in ABAP, do anything we call it's like an activity. You do any activity, okay, or you can write any program. What do we call? We call that is an object. One program is nothing but one object. So ABAP objects, ABAP programs, ABAP activity. You can call anything. So basically, ABAP is nothing but a advanced business application programming. ABAP stands for Advanced Business Application Programming. We write the program. It has its own language. So that is a fourth generation of ABAP programming. We call ABAP/4. So what is the fourth generation of program? First generation of program is going to be like a COBOL, C. We have a lot of things, right? Java, this all the stuff. So these guys have introduced their new program. So by writing this program, they created entire ERP application. SAP ERP is built based on the ABAP. That's the reason they connected this ABAP and ERP together. So I can do anything in if I want to do anything in ERP, I can write the ABAP program. I can completely control the ERP data by using ABAP program. It is its own language. SAP designed its own language is called ABAP. Okay, this is what we need to understand this one. Okay, so now let's say that is this program is going to be very tough. Can I learn it's very easy? Yes, it's going to be very simple, plain English. Anyone can understand, and it's not going to be like by heart or write kind of like C, C++, not that much hard. It's very simple, will be there, it will be very plain English. This is how we're going to learn the ABAP program. So what we can do is interactive reports and conversions. What is a conversion? Conversion is nothing but we can convert the program, the data, or we can say the currencies from one language to another language. These kind of activities we can do in a conversion. What is a enhancements? Enhancements is going to be very standard word in SAP world, in a software world, or I can say that in software field. You go and ask any software developer or software engineer, any technology, let it be Java, .NET, Oracle, C, C++, any software developer, go and ask him, hey, what is the enhancement? Enhancement is nothing but if they develop anything, okay, after completion of the development, they put this the development object into production. Okay, so once this production, then every user can start accessing this. Then user felt that, hey, I need one more option. Can you please put a button here? That is called additional requirement. Okay. Otherwise, they will ask you, hey, can you please remove this? We don't want this. That is also called additional requirement. So you provide the piece, whatever you develop based on the requirement. But whenever the users start working on that, they need additional information or additional features, or they don't want any piece of information or feature, they will ask you to update that. That is called enhancement. We are enhancing the existing product. Okay, that's an enhancement. What is a forms? A forms is nothing but we are going to create a forms where the user can enter the data. That data can be data can be used as an input input data, we can store into the database system. So these kind of activities we can perform. So by using or writing the ABAP. This is what exactly what ABAP is going to do here. Okay, now the question is going to be, what is this ABAP and how this is going to be work, and we need to learn each and everything, right? For example, before that, let me give you a brief introduction about software development life cycle. SDLC. S stands for software, D stands for development, L stands for life cycle. Okay, software development life cycle. L, life cycle. So what is the life and cycle in software? Is it a cycle? We have a physical cycle, nothing like that. Let's see, for example, we have a user. Okay, this user, for example, let's say that they started a bank. Okay, X, Y, Z bank. They said that they contacted company called, for example, TCS. They contacted TCS. They said that, hey, we have started a new business. We need a software where the customers, our customers, can access our software. It's kind of online banking system. Okay, it's online banking system is nothing but, let's say for example, a website. Okay, in this website, the user can start register. Okay, and they can create or open a new account. Open new account. They can, after opening the account, they can start doing a net bank. These are the features I want. So this is called, what do we call? We call it is a requirement. This guy is called what? In a software language, we call them customer. And the proper word is client. Okay? So this is a guy is a client. Then what happens is TCS, who is going to attend this guy? Who is going to listen all this requirement? Architect. Architect is nothing but the guy is going to be very senior into that particular technology. He knows about in and out of the technology. Okay? Then a project manager. Okay? So these people, not only, I'm just giving an example, not only these two people, there might be like, Scrum Master, product owner, a lot of people can attend this one, who can understand the requirements. We call it is a requirement gathering. They're providing the requirement, and these people will be asking more questions to understand the requirement properly. After that, what happens is they start design or development. Okay, so any company or any software development, okay, there will be three systems or three servers: development server, quality server,
Quality,
and thank you, production server. What is this three servers? There will be one more server also. You can also call it is UAT, or some companies will call pre-production, pre-prod. But this is a very rare. But 1, 2, 3 is going to be standard for any company. Okay, only few companies will use, it's company depend to company. Okay, we cannot say that they have to use 4. Okay, it's not like that. It's not a mandate, but 3 is mandatory. 3 systems are mandatory for any company. Okay, now let's talk about these systems. Excuse me. So we can also call these systems as servers: development server, quality server, production server. Okay, so now why they need 3? Let's talk about. If they want to build anything, first they will start building this into development server. Okay, Why they are building and development not into the production server? The reason because the production server is directly connected to the end users. End users. Who is this end users? Who is this end users? Let me give you an example. Microsoft Windows. They started first. Do you remember what is the first version of Windows? 3. I still remember I started working with 3.11. When I started my career, I started working with 3.11. Then 95, 98, 2000, 2004. Then later, I can say XP released. Then what happened? XP. Then I can say, well, what about Windows XP after that? Windows 7. Now Windows 10. What is this? These are all the versions of the particular products, right? For example, when they released the Windows 7, they started working on Windows 10. So when we working on Windows, let's talk about Windows 10 now. Right now, everybody is working on Windows 10. At the same time, Microsoft started working on Windows 12. They started designing and development of Windows 12. Windows 12 is not available to the outside of the market. We don't have, is recently released. But before releasing that, we don't know even they started working on this one. It is not informed to anyone. Okay, so whenever they release it, we start connecting to that particular piece, right? That is what we are end users. For Microsoft, we are all end users to the Microsoft. Once they release that, we'll buy and we'll start using it. That is called end users. Right? Till the release, we don't know. We don't have access to this. So where they're doing this, they're designing and development of this particular Windows 12 into a development server. So this is the reason why the companies start the development into the development server, because it is not available to the end users. End users are only connected to production server. Whenever that particular piece is available here, they can access it. So why they're not directly putting into production server? The reason because first they will develop here. Okay, to do a testing, they will transport this object. Transport. We also call moving or transporting, like system, like from one system to another system, they transport the same piece, same whatever they design. Here they will test it according to the requirement, registered. Whenever we click on the register online, it should open a window. There it should ask you first name, it should ask you last name, then it should ask you like what is your password. Okay, password should be 6 characters, and there should be a submit button. When you click on the submit button, all this information should save. Okay, these are the requirements. That requirement they're going to test it here. They will enter this first name, and they will enter the password 6 characters, right? They will enter only 2 characters. They will test it. Immediately they should get error message. Hey, you need to enter 6 characters. Okay, this is working. Quality. Okay, passed. This is how they test into the quality system. Once it is passed, they have an option directly moving to production, or some companies they will move into the UAT, user acceptance test. They select a couple of end users like this guy, and I'm selecting this guy. 1, 2 users. They will give access to this particular piece. Hey, can you please test it? We tested, it's okay, passed. Can you please test it again from your side? Let's see if you find any errors. That is called user acceptance. These 2 people will test it. They say yes, it is passed. Then they will move to production. In some companies, they directly move from quality to the production system. Okay, that is called production movement. Okay, the production movement will happen weekly. Okay, they need to create a change request that has to be presented into the CAB meetings. We're going to talk about all these things, guys. We are not only learning the program here. We are going to learn the real-time environment. How the real-time environment will be there. What is a weekly release? What is a production system? What is a transportation? What is a CRQ? CRQ is nothing but change request. What is a CAB meeting? How I need to present the CAB meeting? CAB is nothing but change access, like change request board, or change access board. We can call this change advisory board. Some companies will call like, some companies will say integration meeting. Company to company it will change. So we need to present, hey, we designed this one, we are moving to production, please provide approval. Lot of people come here and attend, all the leadership people. It's like a kind of leadership meeting. They will ask you how you develop, is it really going to change anything, is it really going to affect anything to the other applications. We need to provide all the answers, they will approve. When they approve, immediately, like the system administrators or SAP basis people start moving this to production server. That will happen evening 4 p.m. or 5 p.m. after the business hours. We need to wait. You cannot say I want to go home. Every day you go home 5 o'clock only, right? But whenever you have a production movements, you need to stay. You need to check whether it is moved successfully into the production. That is called post-deployment validations. That is a big process is there. We have a deployment plan. Deployment plan. Deployment plan, we need to say that whenever you receive the request, like a software development, you can say build. Okay. How many days it will take? 7 days. Okay. After build, you need to do unit testing. How many days it will take? 2 days. Then you need to do functional testing. How many days it will take? 3 days. Then you need to do technical validations. How many days it will take? 2 days. We'll just give, it's like I'm giving you like, a high level overview. It's not exactly the same figure. Okay. Then we can say that SIT. SIT is nothing but system integration testing after moving to the quality. How many days it will take? 5 days. Then production. Production movement. Okay. Production deployment is nothing but transporting. How many days it will take? Only 1 day. Then post-production deployment. Post-production deployment is nothing but validations. How many days it will take? Only 1 day. Same day we need to complete these two. Then we need to intimate all the users, managers, your team, everyone. Hey, we completed the deployment successfully. Please check. Then this software development project we completed. So project is not going to be only one. A project might have contains multiple tasks. This is a one task. This is a one task. A project may contain any number of tasks. Maybe some projects is shorter. You have a 10 tasks to 20 tasks. Some projects are long term. You have like 100 to 500 tasks. It will go for 2 years, 3 years. Depends on the size of the project. But this is how the software development environment inside the company. Nobody will teach you all these things into any training institute. They will teach you only the subject. But we are also getting into inside the company. We're seeing that what is going to happen, how the things works. It's not only developing a program. It's not only like creating a program. After creating a program, you need to know that how we need to move this to production also. What is the process involved behind this? For example, if you're not aware of this knowledge, you simply learn the subject and get a job and go to the company. After creating a program, you will get stuck up. Then you will ask all other people, boss, I created a program, what next? This program is running very successfully. I tested, but I don't know what to do. They will ask you, hey, move to the production, move to the quality. Hey, my trainer didn't tell me all these things. What is a quality server? What is a production server? How do I move? How do I transport? They'll ask you to create a change request. They will ask you to present it in the CAB meeting. Hey, I never heard all these words, man. What is this? No institute is teaching all this information. This is called real-time environment. It's not only like, learning how to create a program. We need to behave like a software developer. Once you get into the job, you need to have end-to-end knowledge. Then only you will be successful in the job. You don't need to ask any single question to your team member. This is exactly why the people see, I'll tell you with my experience, I have provided a plenty of trainings as of now from 2005. I can tell you one thing. I have seen lot of company, lot of students. They're getting a job, but they're losing a job within a 1 month or 2 months. What is the reason? They're very good in the subject, but they are not able to survive in the company. Why? The reason because they don't have additional knowledge. The knowledge is nothing but everything that depending on the team members. See, I'll tell you, the team members will help you one times or two times. No team member will help you for each and every piece of single, the activity. Right? You keep asking him, hey boss, how to do this? Every day you keep asking one person, what that guy will do. Boys, I have a lot of work. Please don't disturb me. I can help you one time, like once or twice, but not each and everything, right? They will, if they he start will avoiding you. He will start ignoring you. So these kind of situations, if you want to overcome, or if you want to survive yourself, you need to know in and out of how the software development company environment look like, how the teams works, and what are the technical things. What is the end-to-end software development? End-to-end. If you have this knowledge, I can say that you can keep 3 years of experience. See, the people and outside they will ask you how many years of experience in any interview. This experience is not only how many programs you written. They're going to ask you how many end-to-end implementations you've done. The end-to-end implementation is nothing but this release management, change management. You need to know all these things. This is also part of your experience, not only the subject. Right? This is exactly what we're going to learn. This is the benefit of learning the computer courses from a real-time experienced person. But in outside of the market, I'll say Hyderabad is a very good market for training. Very few people will teach you the real time, but I don't think so anyone will teach you all the real times in a Hyderabad market. But most of the the trainers are there. The people who learned in the same institute, they started teaching to get some money from survive. It's like a students part-time jobs and all this stuff. If you learn from them, maybe you can learn the subject, but not like knowledge of environment and real-time situations. If you ask any real-time question, that guy will stick. Go to any Hyderabad institute or online anywhere, ask them for real-time questions. Sir, what is a change request? What is a real release management? Ask this question. They will they don't answer you, they don't respond to this kind of things. Okay. Anyway, that's all about we need to learn all these things. Okay. So this is a very introduction I have given to you. What is a ABAP, what is a SAP, what is a database, what is a modules, what is a software development life cycle, right? And the next class tomorrow, I'm going to give you the first class of ABAP. What is there inside the ABAP? That is what we're going to see it. Okay. So now I'm going to tell you that this course is going to be almost like a 50 days. This is going to be duration. It will be Monday to Sunday, every day, 1 hour. Early morning, 6 a.m. India time. Okay. And the fee is already explained to you. It's going to be 15,000, but I would like to give a discount of 2,000. After discount, it will be 13,000 for 50 days. And all the institute, they will charge you this much. And you're going to get server access. What is a server access? To start practicing your ABAP program, you're going to get server access for 2 months. No one will give you. This cost you at least like 1,000 or 1,500 in a market. Okay, it's a 1,500 plus 1,500. It will be 3,000 for 2 months. But I'm going to give you 2 months is going to be free because our course is going to be 50 days. Okay, so this is the details of the course, and I'm going to provide you a sample resumes to design your resume applying for interview. I'm going to give you interview questions, okay, and materials plus videos. Daily, we record it every day. We record the class. That class will be providing you access to watch. It's a lifetime access. Yeah, this is all about the course. If you have any questions, you can go ahead and ask.